everybody in here. But, Tony's been here before. Had taken a year off because of COVID, but he's been here way back into our history. The floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you, Frank. Guys, it's so good to be back here. You know, I was born here. I've lived here about all my life. Keith back there taught me how to bass fish. I learned how to speckled trout fish. Oh, God. Is this the man coming in the door?
This is the hero.
Oh, God. I was hoping he'd be here.
Hey!
Welcome out! Al's in the house! Welcome, Al!
Put the brake on.
I like that. I need to give you one of those. You
Got
can
dual
turn around and
purpose.
sit down.
Yeah, that thing's great.
Jeez. I can think of multiple uses for that.
I missed so many clubs the last couple of years, whether it's saltwater clubs or freshwater clubs, and I miss it, but we all had to be safe. Just didn't want to be around a lot of people. Everybody felt the same way, I'm sure. I brought another guest tonight. Guys, you're in for a treat tonight. This is Mr. Gil Price. He's going to show you, he invented the wrap system. We're going to go over that when we're through. I want to tell y'all a little story before we get started, that a true story, and it just really fits everybody in this area, all over the country too. I was at Bass Pro Shop doing a promotion for Hook Performance Fishing, a sales promotion, and a guy comes in from Nashville, Tennessee. We're kind of shooting the bull a minute, and he asked me, do you fish? Well, I wanted to ask him, I want to answer him in the best way I could. I said, Bud, I live in the luckiest place in the world. I can go right here in this bay and catch a speckled trout or redfish. I go in the Gulf and catch a red snapper or grouper. I go right down the road to Choctaw River and catch a bass or a brim, and I have fun doing it all. I said, yes, I fish, and I live in the luckiest place in the world to do it. A lot of guys only saltwater fish, like I'm sure some of y'all do. Some guys only freshwater fish, and I enjoy doing it all. So Keith and I were in a bass club together, and we both do all that. So it's special to live in a place like this and enjoy doing it all. You got a packet with some business cards in it. We're going to go over these, and we're going to show one quick video and some baits, and maybe learn something. That angle tilted just right, everybody can see it.
New to the live target lineup is the fleeing shrimp. This extremely lifelike profile is similar to the rig shrimp, but in a backwards fleeing posture. The jig head on this bait is virtually invisible due to the seamless connection with the body. Even at rest, this bait exhibits irresistible subtle action, with its flowing skirt pulsating in any tidal movement or water current. The body is infused with our proprietary long-lasting shrimp scent, making it even more irresistible. And as if that wasn't enough, there's an embedded glass rattle for a realistic ticking sound. So whether you're fishing at cast and hop, cast and drag, or cast and swim, the fleeing shrimp is a must-have for saltwater anglers. It comes in 2 sizes and 8 colors. The fleeing shrimp by Live Target.
Let me go ahead and pass out a package of different colors, different sizes.
What's the best color, Tony?
But there's sand shrimp. This is the color of the shrimp in this bay. And I have caught some giant trout on this thing. They seem to bite this better in the wintertime. I don't know why. I've tried it several different places in some grass flats on the other side of the bay over around Johns Lake and Hogtown Bayou. And it didn't do as good as it did in the wintertime in the mouth of Choctaw River in Basin Bayou. That really works good. But I'm going to pass this whole tray around. Dale's going to guard all this for me now. Y'all watch that.
Yeah, wait till he gets back here.
Let it go around to everybody.
Tony, I don't know.
There's nothing when it comes back.
We didn't make it back.
Oh, God. He's got a pistol, too, so y'all guard this for me. They have all the colors and sizes at Bass Pro Shop in Destin. They're $9.95 for a package. It seems expensive, but I think I've caught 12 or 13 trout on one bait. And didn't tear it. It's real strong, and like you see in the video, that's an unbelievable bait.
That's pretty cool.
The only way I've caught them is just bouncing. And when you bounce it, the tentacles flare out like that, you know, and it works.
How deep are they?
I fish it on the bottom. I was only fishing about 4 feet of water when I caught these trout in the wintertime. I don't know why I haven't caught them in the summertime with it. I caught more on some of the man's baits in the summertime. I'll show you these two. Trocar. Guys, y'all know that Trocar is the only hook that 5/0 to 7/0 that has a welded eye. Everybody else is not. And there are some mean fish in this Gulf that can straighten that eye out. I'll pass these around, whether it's the TK4 2-off and 1-off that you would use to speckled trout fish with, or redfish. TK7 or the 7-off is something you might red snapper fish with, or even grouper fish with.
I just bought some of those today.
Did you? Okay. In fact, I've got a sample here. Frank, pass this around, and let it's going around the room. I'll never say anything bad about anybody else's product. Everybody works hard to make everything good that they want to, but I want you to look at these. The one with the white on it is Trocar. Look at the welded eye, but feel the point on these two. Keith knows where I got these hooks from too. I'll start right here.
Just don't feel it very hard, right?
And go, don't touch it very hard. I've changed the hooks on some crankbaits and things, and I've got little prick marks in my finger when I get through doing it. But I might change 50 hooks at one time. Trocar is a great company. They've got a full line of those at Bass Pro Shop too. You know, the best thing I can say about Bass Pro Shop is their customer service. Their guys there are always willing to help. It's been exceptional. When we get to Humminbird, I'll tell you another story too about Bass Pro Shop, how great they are. In fact, we'll do that right now. Where's my thing at? Just got this out. I'm sorry I didn't. I'm thinking about it. Y'all, in your packet too, you have a catalog from Humminbird. I know a lot of saltwater guys use Simrad, Peruno, Garmin, or whatever, but this customer service at Humminbird beats them all. I know one guy that's got another brand, and he could never get them on the phone. He had a little issue with it. They're just 150 miles north of here in Eufaula, Alabama. I called them on the weekend, and they answered the phone. I was at Bass Pro Shop a couple months ago, and a guy from up north in the Great Lakes was telling me a story. He could not get his Solix 12 on the console to talk to the one on the bow. And he called him, and somebody answered the phone on a Saturday. And he told him just change the chips around, and it did, and it worked. Customer service means a lot. The Mega Live Imaging, I don't know how many people have used it on a saltwater boat. A lot of freshwater guys are using it now, that you can actually see fish swimming live in front of you, or all around you. They've had some trouble with them. I've had a lot of guys call me and tell me, why can't I buy one? A year ago, they got way behind because the boxes were made wrong. They finally got that straightened out, and the resin came in wrong to glue the transitions together, but finally they're getting things worked out. Humminbird's a good company. Customer service beats everybody you can think of. Minn Kota, you know, the Altera Riptide has just made things so much better on an inshore boat that you can push the spot lock and hold it still. First time I saw one of these, me and my brother-in-law were out at the Bridge Rubble flounder fishing, and he's got a 25-foot whaler. All y'all probably know Charlie Mauritius, Charlie, my brother-in-law, and he's sitting there bumping it in and out of gear, holding it still. This boat pulls up, throws the trolling motor over, hits the button, and it's there. Two guys are on the transom of the boat fishing. Battery chargers. I know a guy's got a battery charger that's 14 years old and still works great. Go through your Minn Kota catalog, you'll see a lot of different things, props for trolling motors, battery chargers, accessories.
John's gonna love this book.
Johnson Outdoors owns both of them. Good company to do business.
He's gonna need everything.
She's wanting one. You better get her a trolling motor.
No, my husband's gonna want one. He's gonna be like, candy, kid in the
He's gonna
candy
want
store.
one of them
He
off
just
of each
bought one
page.
last year.
I know, right? It's not gonna be good enough. He's gonna have to get a different one.
There you go. Let's go for some Vicious Fishing products.
Here we go.
This monofilament from Vicious Fishing is the softest, easiest casting, the greatest knot strength that I've ever seen in a line. It's unbelievable. In your packet, you've got a 30% discount code in there too to Vicious Fishing. They're monofilament, they're fluorocarbon. You know, I'm sure a lot of saltwater fishermen, they use a little leader package. You can only get 20 yards. You can get that at the same line as it is in the spool. I bass fish with this, I saltwater fish with it, and it is very strong, very subtle line. They just came out with the blue and the yellow. A lot of guys prefer this. I still use green myself, and they came out with a no fade braid. I see that, especially bass fishermen, and it's going to happen to saltwater fishermen too, that use this, that it sits out in the sun, well, it'll turn white. The way they tested this, they gave it to some commercial catfishermen in South Carolina. They left it on their saltwater, on their pontoon boat for a year, and it never faded. Called no fade braid. Real smooth finish on it, easy casting. Their line conditioner, I used to think line conditioner was a gimmick when Real Magic first came out, and I tried it, and I really couldn't see an advantage of it. This from Vicious Fishing really works. I put it on my spinning reels that has braid line on it the night before I'm going to go speckled trout fishing or something like that. Wind knots are less, smoother casting, goes through the guides a lot better. You can just feel the difference. What are we going to do next? Man's Bait Company. You know, I brought something rigged a little different tonight to show you guys what I learned. I didn't know anything about popping cork fish until a few years ago, but I got one and started fishing with it, caught a lot of speckled trout on it. This is the DOA, comes right out of the package with a rigged shrimp on it like this. I don't use this anymore. I probably killed hundreds of speckled trout. The little 10-inch trout, they bite this, they will swallow it, and you cannot get it out without tearing the guts out of it. This is how I rig it now. Frank, you can pass that around and let them see that's a brand new one right out of the package. I put a trocar circle hook on it and a grub, and I catch just as many trout, but I don't kill any trout. And it works.
Makes sense.
What's the difference?
It's a circle hook on
See
that.
that hook, right, that long shank hook?
Mhm.
A speckled trout will bite that and get hooked really down deep in his throat, and you almost have to pull his guts out to get it out, and it will kill him.
That's why I don't.
This
throw
circle
trout
hook
anymore.
with a man's grub on it, stingray grub, I caught as many speckled trout on this as I had that, and I haven't killed it.
You want me to get some line back?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just one of my techniques of fishing. I don't like to kill them, but they would swallow it so deep you could not get it out without killing the fish.
Only if they're big, then you want to kill them.
Only if they're big.
Right.
Yeah. A big one, you know, he's not going to swallow it real deep, but those little 10 and 12-inch trout that you catch all over the bay, it was just sad to kill that many trout. Man's Bait Company, you know, they came out with this stretch bait long time ago to target king mackerel, but this yellow, or this pink color, I went with Daniel Pike. He used to have an inshore charter service that took bell dance fishing a lot. We went one day, and this pink is a killer for bull reds in the bay in the wintertime. Go out and look for the birds just sitting on the water. You won't see anything striking, you won't see them moving, they're just sitting there. And troll around them, and the bull reds are there. But the pink is my favorite color. It works.
And it's 20 foot deep?
This is a 15-foot deep one, or this is 25. Some of these are 15-foot deep. And
in the winter, how deep do you need to be?
they will run that deep. The redfish will be that deep. Again, some of these are really deep ones that you can troll in the Gulf with it, probably catch grouper with it, but they're designed for king mackerel and the bull reds.
Tony, I'll say, I did a trip over to Louisiana out of Venice, and they were using the stretch 25s pink
Yep.
around the rigs,
Yep.
catching wahoo just as fast as you. Unbelievable. And they wouldn't get but one wahoo out of it because that wahoo would just destroy that bait.
Would he
They
really?
hit it so hard.
Oh, man.
But, I mean, we're talking 80, 90-pound wahoo
Yep.
on pink stretch lures.
Yep. They work. I don't know what it is about the pink, but
It's crazy.
we went one day, we probably caught 25 bull reds one day, and had fun doing it. He taught me something that day too. I thought you would need to troll 50 feet behind the boat. He was only trolling about 20 feet behind the boat and catching them. And once you hook one up, cast a jig to them or something and catch them on it too. Man's Bait Company makes a few crankbaits that I've caught a lot of speckled trout on. This croaker color, this is a wake. This wakes on top of the water. You get in shallow water, 2 or 3 feet water, and it will catch them. These are great colors here that work good for me.
So what do you recommend for redfish?
Pink's a good color.
Any of those, speckled trout or redfish. That croaker color in the mouth of Choctachi River around the reeds works great. It's the same color as the that golden color when they get that way in the wintertime. Come on out of here. I've got some other baits there to show you too, but I want to show you the way I rig some of these. Well, come on out here.
Look, those are looking kind of familiar.
Packaged it too well there, Connie.
It got stuck, that's for sure. There we go. 3 different ways that I fish a little swim bait or grub. This avocado color has been the favorite color of mine for 40 years in this bait. I catch speckled trout with. And just fish it just like this. This is a 4-ounce man's lead head. I also fish a man's mullet in a 3-inch and a 4.5-inch color. I fished this on a 3/8 ounce lead head with a casting rod and reel with a 7-to-1 gear ratio reel on it because sometimes they want to bait a little faster. And I keep it up higher in the water with that gear ratio reel, where the 3.5-inch one, I fish it with a 5-to-1 gear ratio spinning reel, and it also keeps it up in the water good. It makes a lot of difference the way you let it stay up a little higher in the water or let it drop it down a little lower. But the stingray grub will catch them anytime, and that's avocado color. You can get from Man's Bait Company. I'm sure there's some stores around town that have them. I got my poppy cork at Emerald Coast Bait and Tackle. I pitch in for those guys. Josh Calhoun's a great guy. I've been fishing with him before and caught a lot of fish. You garden these?
Yes, sir.
They'll garden all my bait.
I'm watching them all the way around.
What do you recommend for specs on lights at night? You've done that much?
I have. My brother-in-law's got a dock over here on Don's Bayou, and we caught a lot of trout on it. He gets teed off, and a lot of people around that thing know that they cast under the dock and catch some of his wires.
Yes.
Another way that I fish for speckled trout and redfish is like this. Guys, you wouldn't think that something like this would work, and I've showed this to some people at Bass Pro Shop to bass fish with too, especially the fluke type baits. It's the TK4 2/0 circle hook in the nose, but the trick is the little 32nd ounce weight on it. The weight is pegged and it will hold the bait, it'll hold your line still. Most people take and use a regular worm hook in this type of bait. And when you jerk it, that's the only action it has in the tail. With a circle hook in the nose, that's the action it has when you're fishing. I caught the 5-pound speckled trout on this right here on a chartreuse one. Another thing, way to do that is with their little mullet, that just like they passed around there with the lead head on it.
Would you call that a 30-second weight?
All right, guys.
Would you call the weight on the end a 30-second?
It's a 32nd ounce weight,
Okay.
and it's pegged. If you look at it real close when it comes around, I have a little rubber T-stop in it because I want it to stay still. I was at the Bassmaster Classic. I don't know if y'all watch any bass fishing shows. Mark Zona. I saw Mark Zona there. I said, "Mark Zona, you're my hero." I yelled out. He just stopped who he was talking to and said, "Come over here, I want to talk to you." I said, "Man, I can teach you how to catch 10-ton with speckled trout." And it was that way right there. He fishes it with a regular Trocar worm hook. But with that in the nose, it gives it so much more action, and the speckled trout will eat it up.
Wow.
Tony, why don't you use a split shot?
You could. I don't like crimping that on my line. I feel like it could damage your line. This works good. The split shot would work also, but I just have it in my mind is when you crimp it, you could be damaging the line.
So Tony, does that work for reds as well? or-
Ribs and speckled trout, absolutely. I've caught both of them on it. You know, here in the bay, a lot of times you just go fishing and you might catch a speckled trout or you might catch a redfish. There are places that you can target either one. I talked to a captain the other day. He's catching them in the grass flats out from Johns Lake on the other side of the bay over by Mid-Bay Bridge. He's catching them over here on this side in Jack's Lake, right down the bay here, out in the grass flats out from there. And of course around some of the docks between
Taking pictures
Destin
with Ronnie,
and
he's texting
Joe's
me.
Bayou. Catch a lot of speckled trout there. But you have to fish them early. As soon as the sun gets on the water, they're gone.
These boys better watch
If you catch a redfish tailing, throw that in front of them, they're probably gonna eat it.
They will do it, they will. I've never gone out and targeted that, because I don't know exactly where, but if I see one tailing, I have caught it. A packet here from Ann's Bait Company. This is another one of the jerk baits that you saw with the hook in it. Great bait. There's some other baits, some other fluke type baits on the market that are not this wide. If you look at that one I passed around, I hook it right through the eyes because it's thicker right through here and it'll hold the hook better. There's swim baits. I've caught some redfish on these, whether it's a 4.5 inch or 5.5 inch. They come with a pre-rig, come with a hook in the package. You have to rig it yourself. Sometimes a trout, especially over in East River, over near Navarre, they want a curly tail. And this has worked so good for me, chartreuse color, little 3-inch curly tail grub. The little main stingray grub has been around forever. You saw it on that poppy core. Comes in several different colors, white. Chartreuse is one of my favorite colors, the shrimp color. The mullet.
Back out west, we call those reapers.
The grub?
Yeah, we call it a reaper.
Yeah. The mullets come in a 4.5 and a 3.5 inch. I like to fish the pearl color in clear water, and this is called electric chicken. I fish it in stained water. Choctaw River, I only fish this. The electric chicken one here in the bay. Sometimes I fish around Hogtown Bayou a lot. I caught a lot of speckled trout there. And sometimes it'll be clear and the white one
Is it electric
best.
chicken?
Sometimes it'll stain and the electric chicken one works best. I pass these around, you can see all these too. This is one of those croaker colored crankbaits that are out of the package, a little chartreuse one. Man's Little George. I have never tried it myself, but I know a friend that has really caught a lot of speckled trout on this. This was designed by Tom Mann as a bass fishing bait, but the speckled trout will bite the chartreuse one too. Their jig, their spoon, there's called a stone spoon. This is a great bait. You'll see a keel in it. This is the only spoon I've ever seen with a keel in it, and it gets with a little different wobble. And the keel was actually done by accident. They overheated the spoon when they made it, and the hook sunk down into it and made the keel in it. Lead heads in here, just like is on the other baits. You can see all these. Hook performance fishing. Guys, these are the greatest clothes I have ever worn in my life. This is their Iconix jersey. It has an agent in it called ice. I've compared this to the old one, and it will cool you better. When you sweat, it actually cools you. Comes short sleeve, long sleeve, different patterns. Their Tide Point shirt. I've laughing with the ladies here. I was at a meeting one time, and I asked a lady, said, did you threaten to divorce your husband the first time he asked you to iron a Columbia shirt? Yep. These have creases in them out of the packaging. You iron them one time and you'll never have to iron it again. Same thing with the jersey. Wash these on delicate cycle, no fabric softener, just hang it and it's dry in 30 minutes. Has ventilated panels in the Iconix jersey. The button-up shirts also has ventilated panels in here. I have a great selection at Bass Pro Shop, or you can order these online. Their Tide Point are their next level shorts. These things are so cool. They have stretch in the waist. They have ventilated panels in the waist. They have ventilated panel in the crotch. And man, they're just great. A lot of different colors. If you're not sure about your size, go to Bass Pro Shop and try them on before you order them. Or you can buy them there. They're gaiters. You know, we all should have started protecting ourselves a long time ago. I see a lot of guys with melanomas on their faces and things, and this is one that you can see through. The mesh on here, you can actually see through it and then run with it on your face like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. I don't know of any others that are like that. Their shoes and boots, these are the coolest deck boots I've ever seen. Non-skid, non-marking sole on them, comfortable, light. It's called a Hook Road boot. What's
What size are they?
the My Heat shoes. They did away with these for a little while, but they came back with them. Again, they have a non-skid, non-marking sole on them, light and comfortable. I've got a pair on right now. They have come in 2 different colors.
Who carries those around here?
Uh,
Bass Pro or?
Bass Pro Shop doesn't have the shoes. They've got the clothes. I don't know who had, they did have the shoes at one time, but they don't right now. You can order them online, the Brewster. Again, very comfortable, very light shoes, with non-skid, non-marking sole on there. Either wear them fishing or wear them dressy or whatever you want to do.
There was another girl who was cruising around the corner for a minute. She didn't trust those. They were good for muck boots too.
Do we want to let Gil do his and then do the drawing?
Yeah, well,
Okay. Guys,
Oh, geez, good gosh.
thank you so much for letting me come here tonight.
Thank you.
This has been great.
Very nice.
Mr. Clark, it's an honor to be around you.
Yeah, super
Are
late.
you still the record holder?
He
Gil,
used to us.
in our heart, it is.
how big was it?
Float
25
away.
something pounds of peacock bass on 4 pound
The
test
air.
line. And it's still the record holder. Long time
Get a
ago.
pair of those.
Wasn't that about the weight of it?
He had several different world records over the
He's been a hero to a lot of people.
He likes it, light line challenge.
Yeah, it is.
And,
4-pound peacock bass.
Yeah.
That's line.
and he's a war hero.
My friend Gil Price. Yes, sir.
Tony,
Yes, sir.
good. A second for a question.
Sure.
You were talking hummingbirds and Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
Now, I've never done this, but somebody told me that if you use both of those together and then they're synced together, that you can just hit one of your spots, and when you get there, it'll do everything. You don't have to do
You can
nothing.
set the tracking on it, or track it. The Minnesota color motor is designed where if you want to move over 20 feet, you program it into there. Move over to a different spot, yes, and they will talk together.
But they said that you can like take your pointer and point at a place, and the hummingbird will take you right there, and it'll hold.
Yep,
Is that true?
it is. Yes, sir.
Hey Dennis, we got your pile of stuff back here. Is there anybody that still needs to see it up there?
He's gardening for me.
Bring on back this
Don't
way.
put it in your pocket.
Send it that way?
Send it this way.
Another thing about a hummingbird in Bass Pro Shop, I was there at Bass Pro Shop a few years ago, right before Christmas, doing a quantum promotion. And a friend of mine comes in, he had bought a different order, it was a different brand, it doesn't really matter. And he had a little problem with it. First time he used the GPS screen locked up on it. He went to one of the associates at the fishing counter at Bass Pro Shop. They plugged it in and verified, yes, there's a problem with it. Any other store would just, hey, man, here's the phone number, you call them, you deal it with it yourself. He went in the back room and got another depth recorder and handed it to him. This is customer service. And Bass Pro Shop is a great place to buy your depth recorders at. You won't find a hummingbird, I mean a Minn Kota Altera riptide anywhere in the country though. We got lucky a few weeks ago, and again, I don't know if anybody else, my brother-in-law Charlie Maricas got the whaler, it says Team Whaler on the side of it. He wanted one, I happened to call out there. One came in the day before, and then he told me the other day it was the only one in the country. Everybody has been out of things, transmission parts, I'm having a heck of a time getting those. This economy still sucks, it's bad.
It's gonna get worse.
Cars are going to car lot now. You don't see 100, you see 2. Yes, sir. My friend Gil Price, how many of y'all have used his wrap system to sheephead fish with? Gil is the inventor, a genius. He's caught more sheephead than anybody in this room. Gil, can you show us how you do this?
Thank you, Tony.
And then we're going to have a drawing. Can I sit next to you?
Very gracious. Genius. Okay. Gil Price, my company's Mossy Head Bait Company. I've been in business here locally. I'm on my 7th year now. And I'm all about bait. I'm not that much of a lure guy. All my life, I put bait on the hook, I go fishing. So quite a few years ago, after I got stationed at Holborn, I retired out of there in '94. But I'm originally from Mobile and fished with my grandmother. It's just very difficult to do because once the oyster's out of the shell, just about everything that swims is going to eat it before the sheephead ever has a chance to even look at it. And even if the sheephead does get to it, the chances are he's going to steal it from you and not even know he's got a bite. So that's kind of the way it works with those fish. But I fished under Destin Bridge for many, many years, and I'm a piddler. I love piddling, with stuff, and so I just kept thinking, I got to come up with something. I got to figure this out. So I just worked at it, and finally come up with an idea of, taking an oyster and putting in a little mesh bag and putting that bag on your hook. And lo and behold, I started not catching sheephead, I started slaying sheephead. I was sitting under the Destin Bridge, and mind you, back in, when I first got here back in the early 90s, sheephead fishing was not that big a deal back then, and not a lot of people did it, but there were dedicated sheephead anglers under the bridge. But every winter I'd be under there, and I'm just like, just as long as I wanted to catch them, I could catch them. And these other anglers would be watching me, because they all get around the same pile, and you're within eye shot of each other, so everybody's checking everybody out, So I'm just, and I'm sitting there, I'm just living this, And I always got that question, what are you doing that I'm not doing? What are you doing? And I said, well, what do you use it for bait? I'm using oysters. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, tell me another one. I said, yeah, that's what I'm using, oysters. Well, how do you keep it on the hook? Pinfish, everything down. But anyway, that's how it got started. But after I retired the second time, I just couldn't stay retired, and I got to talking with the wife. And I said, something, I bet I've been asked 1,000 times over the past 30 years, how are you catching all them sheephead? And I said, I might be able to do something with this. So that's how I got started. And lo and behold, I went and got me a patent lawyer, and I'd already refined the system. I really believed in it. I knew it worked. All I had to do now is get people to find out who I am and what the system is on a low budget. And that was challenging, because I'm competing with guys, Mans, and, very, very well-known system. Everybody knows about it. And my problem was always product recognition. And really all I had was YouTube. So I had to learn all, I was a government guy for 46 years, so I wasn't a business guy. So I really stumbled through this process, but I finally got the skills and got everything together. So YouTube basically is how I advertise. So if you go to my website, I put out quite a few fishing videos, www.rapfishingsystem.com, and I've expanded a lot now. In other words, when the phone would ring, I would be talking to a lot of sheephead persons, but people start saying, I get a call from a guy in North Carolina, hey, you got something for catfish? I'm going like, well, yeah, something? I should be thinking about that, And then I would get another call, hey, out of California, we fish for, we like using clams out here trying to catch sturgeon and stuff like that. Can you do something for that? Believe it or not, I'd get called from overseas. People would be, yes, believe it or not, I made a lot of sales in Norway. They want a really big wrap to stuff it with clams and catch these big cod. And it's just really hard to keep the bait on the hook. Anyway, that's how all this stuff got started. So right now I got sales in all 50 states and 26 foreign countries. I'm kind of in a lull right now, the COVID, and now all this gas stuff, people are just not out there doing as much of the stuff they like to do. But it's all about the bait. That's what I always tell my customers. It's always about the bait, every single time. And what this allows you to do is everything that I do, the two things it's going to give the angler the opportunity is, one, is you're going to be able to keep your bait on the hook a lot better than you have in the past. Especially soft baits, anything that's soft. But that being said, it also gives you a great opportunity to start thinking about combination baits, combo baits. Well, maybe this will work, maybe that'll work. And the catfishermen took off with that. They just have all kinds of gobbledygook that they come up with, to catch catfish. But this type of stuff really works out in the Gulf too, when it comes to grouper and snapper and, and really goodies that you get out there. I can take my system and go out there. I shoot right past, early in the morning, go right past all the guys catching live bait. You know, they spend an hour there sometimes. If they're hard to catch, they're spending the best part of the morning trying to catch bait. All I've done is the night before is I went and got me 3 or 4 pounds of fresh shrimp, peeled them, minced them up, mixed it with some menhaden oil, put it in a bait ejector, you know, and then I'll take something like this and I fill that up with shrimp, and I will catch snapper after snapper after snapper after grouper. I've caught tuna with it, and all I'm using is shrimp. And shrimp's available 24/7, right? You can always get shrimp. But I've used other baits, you know, emulsified it. You know, I've gone out there, believe it or not, because experimenting, I just go out there and see, okay, well, will this catch a fish? Will that catch a fish? You know, I've gone out there with chicken liver and caught snapper, you know, using the system. But anglers get into these, I call them ruts. You're into something that works, but you just don't want to get out of it because that's your comfort zone. So that's what I'm trying to break through. Because really out there in the Gulf of Mexico, I mean, we're not talking about marlin or wahoo or anything like that, but if you're bottom fishing, this system right here will really work for you using nothing but shrimp. Or you can grind up some mullet. Or you can go to the fish market, throw away them shrimp heads and ask them to save them for you. And I guarantee you can go out there with shrimp heads and catch snapper and grouper all day long.
That's pretty awesome, your system.
You know? So it gives you some opportunities. The system really works, and I've laid out some stuff here, but it's all the same concept. You've got a material that you're going to get your bait in, and I'm trying to make that now look like something that's moving and is alive. In this particular, what I do is I just sell the wrap, and I show the angler how to use it, and then they come up with the stuff that is going to really make it work for them. In this particular place, I'm running a blade out the back, but I could be running a curly tail out the back, such as this one. That's really good, you know, for speckled trout and flounder and redfish. I've used this right there at the rocks at Destin Pass, fill it up with shrimp, and the way this works, this particular one, is it's got a rubber band. You just pull it out, you fill it up with bait, and it goes back in. And you would do that too. I don't do that for you. I'm just showing you how it's done. And you can use that rubber band system, or you can actually run a very light wire through that and put a little hook on the end and put it in there, and the hook catches the mesh. So it's the same concept. Put your bait in there, put your curly tail in there, you get it up against some rocks and bounce it just like you would any jig, and the redfish is going to get it, okay, and flounder and speckled trout. And the same thing, I do the same thing as he does up in the creeks in the wintertime. You know, I get over here at the mouth of Mitchell River, you know, in December, you can wear the speckled trout out with this. Again, just using shrimp. Here's another variation of it right here, you know, with a jig. And it's the very same. This is the different type of material that I've just started using. And I'm calling this my stuffed minnow. But again, it's all about putting the bait in here. And this material really stretches quite a bit. So that fits right in there, what's catching on the edge right now. But that actually goes in there pretty easy. This thing, that'll stretch out about 4 times the size that you see there. So it'll really puff up when you put the bait in there. Works really well. And the other one, the catfisherman, basically all I did is I made a bigger raft for them, but instead of using the injectors, they wanted to like drop a whole piece of bait in there, or like a whole liver in there. So all it is I have a tube. So you got a wrap, and you just put the tube down in the wrap, then you drop the whole chicken liver in there. You pull the tube out, put the hook in, you're ready to go.
Sounds like a chum bag with a hook in it.
Yeah, the same thing works if you want to go out and golf.
Pretty good.
It's the very same concept. You know, I come up with a much tougher wrap. It's very, very translucent. See right through it, but it's tough. I mean, it's really, really tough. And it's the same thing. In this particular one, I was telling you about the it works great. You know, you just slip it in there like that. You drop your shrimp heads down in there. They don't get caught in the mesh. You just pull it out, put the hook in there, and you got a bag full of shrimp heads. And then snapper just tear it up.
That's awesome.
They tear it up. You know, it's just shrimp heads. You know?
That's great.
Is that the same thing you would use for sheephead?
Exactly. The
Can you put
concept is the same straight across the board.
Eat some shrimp.
It's a
bring
bag
leftovers,
with
take
bait
a
in it,
fish.
is what it is, okay?
Interesting.
And when I was getting my patent on this, I did a lot of research through the patent system. And the first patent was like 1876, something like that. Somebody using a mesh to put bait in and catch fish with. But the patent lawyer said, he said, well, you know, he said, you're probably going to get a patent on this, but the only reason you're going to get a patent on it is that everybody else was coming up with like all kinds of drawstrings and everything else to close it up, you know. Then put the hook in it. Well, my idea is you put it in there and then you use the hook. You just lace the hook through the top of it and bring it back down through the middle of it. Easy peasy, nice and easy. My whole concept is just make it simple. Keep it simple. Keep it simple and keep it as cheap as you can. You know, the anglers, they pay a lot of money out there, and man, bait's got really expensive. So when you can go over here to Willingham's and say, hey, make a deal with you, you know, save all the shrimp, I'll give you $10 a pound if you save it for me, I'll come and get it, you know. Take them and freeze them up, got plenty of bait. The same thing with mullet, any of it. Now, the other thing you can really do with any of this is, let's take the shrimp for example. This is my favorite bait, by the way, when I go out in the Gulf, when I'm fishing for snapper or grouper. And if you can visualize this one right here, with a big curly tail out the back, filled with minced shrimp that's laced with menhaden oil, okay, and throw that at a cobia, they're not going to turn their nose up at it. They're going to eat it, okay, because it's a bait bomb. As soon as it hits the water, that menhaden oil just like that, you know. So that first 30 seconds or so, that oil is just leaking out of that shrimp. It's just throwing out a tremendous amount of odor. And for anyone that night fishes the Gulf for grouper and snapper, it's a killer system. Because, you know, it's all about odor then, 100% just about. Really works well. But anyway, that's my system. That's how it works. And again, I don't sell the jigs. All I do is I sell the ramp and I sell the knowledge on how to put your system together. And I've got people that use it for pike, cod. I had a gentleman send me a video this past winter. I think he was up in Minnesota. Anybody here from way up north? No? Well, up there they ice fish. And there's a fish up there called eel pout. And it's like a cross between an eel and a catfish. But it's highly sought after because apparently it's really good eating, but hard to catch. The bait that this fish likes, can't keep it on the hook, the same story. Well, anyway, he used my system and he caught 11 eel pout in one night. He says the most he ever caught in his life. And not only did he catch 11, 4 of them were the biggest ones he's ever caught since he's been fishing for them. So those are the types of things where anglers start thinking about various ways they can take this system and make it work for them. Yes, sir?
We've got a member, his name's Terry Brown, he's really into sheep's head, and he swears by your system, absolutely loves it.
Yeah, Terry, his customers, he does really well with it, with his customers. And that's the kind of stuff that really makes me happy. You know, when I was in the government for so many years, a lot of times when the phone rang, you know, I'm not really sure if I wanted to answer it, because I was in law enforcement and security most of my careers, so when the phone rings, you're usually talking to somebody that's upset, you know, or not satisfied, or they got a complaint or something like that. But now when the phone rings, somebody just wants to talk about fishing, you know? So it's great. I just love this. You know, I'm not getting rich on it, but man, I really enjoy doing it. I need
So what's your website again?
www, all one word, RAP Fishing System,
Is that WRAD?
WRAP Fishing System, RAP Fishing System.com.
What's the oil you see, what, you just mince up shrimp and add a little oil to it?
Little bit heavy.
Yeah, I really like menhaden oil because menhaden oil. Well, over on the Atlantic coast they call it bunker oil. Here locally it's menhaden, same fish.
Who sells it?
Yeah. But,
Who sells it?
pardon?
Who sells menhaden oil?
Josh has it.
Oh, any of the good saltwater shops has got it. Bass Pro definitely has it, but the problem with Bass Pro, they only sell it in 1 gallon containers.
Jeez.
Yeah, you can go online, and get
Freeze
it
'em.
4
Make a
ounces,
whole bunch
8
of
ounces.
things.
Yeah.
But I've experimented this past winter out in the Gulf using a lot of these scents that designed to spray on the lure and mixing that with bait, and that's really working really well. You know, so you've got all of this stuff available now to you. You can prep everything the night before. You know, you can preload all of your bags and have it all set to go, sitting on ice. You know, and boom, you go.
Where do you get those bags?
Yes, sir.
How do they hold up the trigger fish?
He just gave you the website.
Well,
Oh.
I'll tell you this.
You got a wire
You
fish?
will get more opportunities per bait using this system versus not using it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna sit here and walk you down any Primrose Lane, because there's a lot of anglers in here that if I said, oh yeah, you know, you can catch 5 triggerfish on one bait, you know, I'll get, out the door I go. And I've actually had customers call me and they said, hey man, you said this stuff's, you know, you catch 5 or 6 fish on it with one bait. And I'm going like, well, sometimes you can't. He says, well, I was only catching 1 or 2 triggerfish on it, you know. And the customer was complaining. And I'm going, like, you were catching 1 or 2 on one bait? And, okay, if the customer's right, you're going like, well, you know, I'll try to do better. Now, I've got all kinds of stuff now. Every angler, all these little niches I'm trying to fill.
Triggerfish destroyed a bag.
I make a double wrap now, where you take one wrap is designed to hold the bait, and the other wrap is designed to give it a lot of strength. The whole idea about my whole, yes, sir.
Okay.
Am I taking too much time?
I think they were ready for you to go.
Yeah,
Okay.
but if you would hang around a little bit, I think everybody's gonna wanna pick your brain a little bit.
Okay, absolutely.
We're gonna have a drawing, but before we do, I guess I'm so
Appreciate it.
excited about being here, I forgot to show you some rod and reel. Quantum Smoke S3 rod and reel. This is the greatest thing to speckled trout fish with, this inshore rod. Stainless steel bearings in the reel. You see all that in your catalog, you go online, you've got a 25% discount there. I don't know how many of y'all use a casting rod and reel. The S3 reel's got a salt guard finish on it. And again, this is a 7-foot medium action
It's
rod
like short, it's
that
pretty
I
fun.
love to fish with. Probably the first thing anybody ever started fishing with was a Zebco 33.
Yes, sir.
And we'll go around that way.
I love it.
They've improved
It
these
makes
so
it
much over the
challenging.
years. Anybody know what Zebco stands for? I got to see one a few months ago. 0 Hour Bomb Company. The first thing they designed was bombs to drop down in oil wells in Texas to blow the rocks up to drill, keep on drilling.
Huh.
I got to see a 1954 Zebco 33, and on the bottom of it, it said 0 Hour Bomb Company.
Wow.
While y'all are looking at that, we're going to have a drawing, because I think everybody's wanting to wrap this up. Y'all have your raffle tickets?
Yeah.
Feel lucky?
I got the winning one over here.
I know you do. Let's draw for a Suncoast hat first.
A hat.
Got your raffle ticket, Frank? I do. You're going to win one? 9763. You got that? There you go. Pass that back to him.
It's a hat.
Yeah. Vicious Fishing Koozie.
There we go.
Did it fall?
There we go, you need one of those.
76.
9775.
Close.
You can stir those up.
All right.
You got that?
Stir that up.
There you go.
Stir them up.
I'm
I
close.
drew some the other day at a meeting, and I'll be doggone if I didn't get 3 in a row and didn't even know that I was doing it. A Zepco hand towel,
No, I can take that.
9783.
Yay.
Terry, support our veterans. I got invited to go to a fishing trip on June the 26th with Healing Waters program. Cody Wells, it's the president of the Panhandle Fly Fishers, invited me to go to that. Would y'all like to have him come do something with you one night on fly fishing? Okay? Okay. But I'm really looking forward to this. I know George Furkes is really big into the veteran award thing, and so is Cody. Again, he's president of the Panhandle Fly Fishers. It's just like this club. When I got invited to come here, I don't know anything about sail fishing. I know about catching paper trout, redfish, and I go coming here. Same thing with this fly fishing club. I get there, and these guys said, Tony, we go, first thing we do is find a speckled trout with a spinning rod, so it all worked out good.
Tony, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you, Tony.
All right, guys, unless anybody else has anything else?
Thanks, Gil.
Yeah, appreciate it.